Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our RAS Media monthly webinar. We're excited that you're all here. We're going to give everybody just a minute to come on into the go-to webinar, and we're going to get started. As we prepare to get started, let me give you just a little bit of housekeeping, if I can. First of all, I'm Verl Workman, CEO of Workman Success Systems. I'm going to be your host today. We're grateful to have a phenomenal partner in Exact Contact. We're excited to have Shannon McGee here. She's going to share us some insights, and we have two amazing guests that are going to help all of us learn how to double our business and double our profit while we double our free time. And if you're not interested in that, I don't know how to help you. So I want to earn more money and I want to have more time while I do it, then this is the place you want to be. We have a tremendous group today. We have a lot of people that are going to be on the call. So just a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, stay on till the end. We're going to give you a landing page where you'll be able to take advantage of some really cool offers and some free downloads that we're going to give you. The second thing is that if you have questions for our partners or for any of our guests, then I'm going to ask you to use the questions tab on your GoToWebinar control panel. So if you have questions, just type your questions in. I'll be monitoring the questions and see that there. Peter, I'm still showing that we're on, let me go back to that. Oops, there we go. I was showing that we haven't started yet. Have we started? Okay, I think we're good to go. All right, so welcome everybody. Remember to if you have questions, to put them in there. Riz Media does a fantastic job putting together a series of webinars, but it wouldn't be possible without our key partners. And our key partners are companies that support us, that give us the resources to be able to market and to bring all of you together to share this great content. We are very, very fortunate to have a great partner today with Exact Contact. Today, I want to welcome and please say hello to Shannon McGee, who's the sales director at Exact Contact. She's responsible for customer onboarding, retention, support. She's got years of experience and knowledge of CRM systems, and she just has tremendous enthusiasm. Shannon, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you being a partner in this event today.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us a little bit about Exact Contact and what you guys do. What's your secret sauce? What's the unfair competitive advantage?
Yeah, and we're all about making things easier for agents, and it sort of leads right into that, giving them back more free time. So getting things into a CRM, and not just getting it into the CRM, but then automating some of those reminders, automating some of your communication, keeping you engaged with your sphere, and it'll help you win back more business. Right now, everybody's sort of finding those challenges in going digital and keeping themselves organized. And so many agents have looked at, okay, well, where do I get leads? What do I do with those leads? What's working to build and grow my business? And if the online lead gen isn't working, on the previous slide, there was a stat there that's just obscene, like less than 1% of leads closed last year from online lead gen. So it is about growing your sphere.
There's more leads generated than there are people moving.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you do with that? And if it's not working, then what can you do instead? And that's where your CRM comes in, and really mining your own database, the people that know, like, and trust you, especially in today's world where there are limitations on who you can connect with and how you can connect. Connecting with people that already know, like, and trust you, and getting those referrals is what will ultimately help build your business over time. So it's just getting things into your CRM. You can go to the next slide, Verl.
It's so true. Before you start talking about this, I think that we as the agents overall spend a lot of time focusing on how to generate business from strangers instead of focusing on people that they already know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and most of us just aren't wired that way. We're not wired to talk to strangers. We were told not to for so long, and now you're sort of looking at this list of strangers and thinking, well, how do I start these conversations? Well, right. Use what you know. Use your relationship building skills to build on those existing relationships. And we're going to be talking about CRM today with the help of Jay and Nelson. And we're talking about CRM as that cornerstone to your business. And there have been various studies done. I'm highlighting one here from another source, Active Rain, just that agents using a CRM were that much more successful. And it's a combination of being organized and also communicating with their sphere on a regular basis because of the automation that's set up in their system.
So true.
Yeah. So it's, it's about getting yourself organized, keeping yourself on top of things. If you've got the last note from that person that you called, isn't it easy to start the conversation again? And I know Jay's going to speak to this, but those moments where you congratulate someone on something or ask a question about something that happened 6 months ago, and the person knows either, hey, you've got an amazing memory, or you've got a great CRM. And there's a balance there to keeping you in touch with everybody and keeping those important notes and being able to build that database over time with all of that information. It actually will help you build something right into retirement.
That's so true. So many people focus on the wrong things, and if we can just get them to focus on the right things. You said something that I think is a critical piece, and that is whenever you have a conversation with someone, take a note. And then the next time you talk to them, you can remember what you said last time. And then it becomes from a place of a relationship instead of trying to remember or not sounding like you really care about these people. And it's not that we don't care, it's that we can't remember. There's too much going on in our lives. So use your CRM, put the notes in there. And
yeah, and that's habit forming, right? If you think it's like, oh my God, that's a huge task to put my notes in every time, use the mobile app, jot it down, put it on a napkin, whatever. If you write it down, you're actually just that much more likely to remember it in the grand scheme of things.
I'll give you a last tip before you share this last slide, Shannon, and that is, when you get into CRM, I like to say, whenever you have a touch with someone, always schedule the next touch. So you don't just put them on a follow-up plan or a drip campaign, schedule the next time you're going to call them. So when you get up in the morning, you're going through your scheduled calls and you're following up on a religious basis. And that's a CRM tool that I learned from one of the founders of Franklin Covey, and that is, whenever you have a touch, always schedule the next touch, and you'll find you become a relationship master.
Yep, or put in place a system that when you log that touch, the system automatically sets the reminder for the next touch. So it actually eliminates that extra step for you. And Nelson and Jay are going to talk more to the specific features that they use that help their business. I'm not going to read off the bullets of the slide. You guys are able to read those. But there's so much encompassed in one solution that can do so much for your business. And that's where you're going to get more business because you have more free time to build more relationships.
That's right. So for those that get excited about the CRM today, as we get into it, is there a way that they can take advantage of it or try it out or use it?
Yeah, absolutely. We are offering an extended free trial. So your first 2 months are absolutely free. There's no obligation. There's actually never any contract with Exact Contact. So it's month to month after the 60 days free. We're pretty confident that once it's set up and working for your business, which takes a very short amount of time, that it's really going to start driving that business value back to you. And just quick little note: if you're a rookie agent,
take a picture of this slide. Take a picture of it real quick.
If you're new to real estate, if you're a rookie agent in your first year, we want you to get off on the right foot. So your first 6 months are free.
Wow. Shannon, thank you, and thanks for the offer. I want everybody to take advantage of that. Let's just get into it, and I hope you'll stay with us and interject thoughts and comments and questions as we go through and talk about the power of a CRM and how to really increase your business without spending a bunch more money. So stay with us as we go through this, Shannon. Thank you for being such a great partner. So we have a couple of great guests today. We have Nelson Goulart, who's a broker owner with Better Homes and Gardens in Mississauga, Ontario, and Jay Quigley, who's a broker associate from Florida Executive Realty in Tampa, Florida. We're going to get to them in just a minute as we drop in and really talk about the CRM and how we do it. But before we introduce our guests, I'd like to give everybody on our call today a couple of really important key tools and things that they can do with their CRM that will make the biggest impact on their career. And so are you ready to have a couple of tools? Ready to have a couple of great takeaways? If you are, then jump in. I'd like you to go into the Q&A portion and just say hi to everybody. Let me know where you're from and just say hello in the questions box so that our guests know who they're talking to. I'd love you to do that. And then we're going to get to them in just a moment. So the first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like everybody to write this down: 3, 2, 1, 1. And this must be managed in your Exact Contact. In your Exact Contact every day, starting today, if you will start to do this, this is where your life will change. I want you to reach out. I want you to call 3 people in your database every day, 3 past clients, 3 of your relationship. Hi, Bob from Houston. Appreciate that. Julie, CRM stands for Client Relationship Manager. It's the hub of everything we do. If you think about what we do in real estate, everything we do is focused on relationships. And so the CRM, if you think of it this way, if you think of a wheel, the CRM is the center post that has all the spokes that touch your clients. But without that hub in the middle, the spokes don't have anything to connect to. It's the most important piece of technology you own in real estate. Your CRM is the most important part of the wheel. It's a part that holds everything else together, and it's where everything happens from there. And so starting with your 321s, and thanks for all your posts and saying hello from all over the country. I have great people here. I want you to go into your database every day, go into your exact contact, and just open up and call 3 past clients. Ask them how they're doing, how's their family. Use the Ford dialogue: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to prospect every day. And that is looking for new business until you find 2 new customers that you can add to your exact contact. So you go in and you call 3 past clients every day, 5 days a week, prospect until you find 2 new customers that will list or buy in the next 90 days. And then I want you to learn 1 new thing. And so inside of Exact Contact and the help screens and the tutorials and the videos that are available, I want you to every day learn 1 new thing until you become a power user. If you'll do that, here's what your business looks like. At the end of just 1 month, you will have done 5 days a week. You'll see, so you have 3 at 15, so you have 60 people that you've reached out to in your database in the first month. You will have prospected until you have 40 new people that have come into your database that you're now following up with, have them on drip campaigns and automated campaigns, and you will have learned 20 new things. Think about that. And then the last thing is to start keeping track in your exact contact, all of the different people and the businesses they're in. And when you start tracking, not just that, whether they're a buyer or seller, a homeowner or renter, but you also put in there if they own a sushi restaurant or dry cleaning or what their businesses are. And then once a week, I'd like you to give 1 outbound referral. If you'll do that with your exact contact and you'll start doing that today, 1 year from now, your business will be transformed. 3, 2, 1, 1, you can do it. The second thing I'm going to give you is I want you to start tagging your leads as an A, B lead, an A, a B, or a C lead. An A lead is somebody you have an appointment with. We were talking about that as we started here, and Shannon says when you schedule an appointment or you talk to someone, always schedule the next thing. If they're an A lead, you are the next touch because you have a scheduled appointment. A B lead, you tag them as a B lead. I want to set it up so you get them a call twice a month during the weeks that the 1st falls in and the 15th falls in. So B leads, we're going to call twice a month during the weeks of the 1st and 15th. A C lead, we're going to call once a month during the week of the 8th. So A's have an appointment, B's get 2 calls a month, C's get 1 call a month. Automate your lead follow-up process if you want to have a high level of return. And the last tip I'm going to give you is that everybody has too many people in their database to be able to work them all effectively. And so what I want you to do is I want you to create a category inside your exact contact called Top 50. And I want you to identify the 50 people who are most likely to give you 1 referral a year. And then I'm going to give you at the end today, I'm going to give you an ebook called 8651. It's on how to close 86 transactions a year, working with 50 people 1 hour a day. And the whole concept is we're going to have 1 personal touch with all 50 of our top 50 every single month until we start having this group of 50 that gives us a minimum of 1 referral a year. And you will find that several give you more than 1, and it'll take your business to a whole new stratosphere. And so those are your Vrl tips on CRM and how to turn your CRM into a gold mine. And I look forward to watching your progress as you incorporate Exact Contact and you run the systems that you learned not only from Shannon and me today, but from our next 2 guests. So next I want to introduce Nelson. Nelson, welcome to the call today.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
We're off to a fast start today. Everybody, let me introduce Nelson Goulart. He's the broker owner of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Signature Service in Mississauga, Ontario. That's just outside of Toronto. He's the broker of record for 2 very innovative boutique brokerages. He's mentioned in Canadian media as an industry leader, a true thought leader. His focus on how to really develop his agents and help them be successful is what sets him apart from others. He's a very early adopter of technology and loves the technology, and he's transformed brokerages from being full of paper to truly paperless. Nelson, thank you for being here, and I just want to welcome you and thank you for sharing your insight with us. I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today.
And so the first question I got to ask you is, what in the heck is going on in Canada with COVID? Are you guys doing things as normal? Have you had to make some adaptations? Have you had to change things up a little bit?
Well, it's fun. We're kind of going through parallel with what you guys are going in the U.S. We're kind of our area of Toronto and surrounding areas is now up to a red level. So it's now back as a second wave. But what we did when it initially came around is it basically forced us to switch because we had gone full online basically as an office and are operating as a hybrid. The technology allowed us to do that full flip. So our business, and we're essential services in Ontario, so it allowed us to keep operating and for our agents to keep operating safely through paperless transaction systems, EFTs for deposits, all of those things. So it allowed the least amount of impact to the agent's business that we could provide and still provide service to our clients, because surprisingly there were still a lot of people that wanted to buy and sell homes back in March and April, and so it was a godsend that happened. But it really gave me cause to reflect, because in everything there's opportunity in how you start looking at things. And one of the things that I came up with, and I've been saying to everybody this year, has been COVID is changing also how we do business. It's changing all the aspects of our life, but it's also changing how we do business. We're often told, it takes 30 days to create a habit. And if that's the case, then we forgot all our old habits. But knowing real estate agents, I found that, in the last couple of months, some of those were creeping back. So this second wave of COVID is going to force us to seriously look at what we do in our business and how we operate. Like, do we need open houses? Right now, they're going to be none or severely restricted in some areas. Is that the most efficient way to be working with clients and showing properties? Now with technology changing everything. For those areas, like agent caravans here disappeared a long time ago, but I still hear about them sometimes in different distant places, that they still do that. Well, there's no place for that in a COVID world right now. Showing properties, no duplicate bookings of appointments, only one couple through a property at a time. Even brands are impacted, because some of them out there have made their brand all based on door knocking. Well, good luck with that, showing up with a mask saying, hey, do you want to sell your home, right? So that's changing. Even then, communicating with clients is now different. Like, as a broker now, I'm doing recruiting presentations with Zoom. When we're in severe lockdowns, last year I tried to implement Zoom for all of our training, and I had nobody show up. By the first week of March, every one of my agents was now proficient on Zoom. They became instant overnight success, because if they wanted to meet and give that listing presentation and give that buying presentation, those clients still wanted to get that information. So it forces you to become better at with the tools that are available.
It is interesting that, as realtors, COVID's happened, and we're all being affected by it, but it really hasn't changed the life events that occur that cause people to need to move. There are still things that are going on, so people still need to move. We just have to change the way we do it. And I love to see the adaptation that you've made as a broker in helping your agents be able to be successful during the pandemic. How's your business been affected? Are you up or down this year? Are you doing about the same as you did last year?
Well, our office typically outperforms the market in Mississauga. So we have, unlike some operations that it's a small percentage of producers, over 52% of my agents are minimum award levels or higher. And we're an office about 60 agents on average. So what I was surprised with, and I think you'll agree with what I'm about to say, is the business went on. So that March, April, May, we had the impact. So what we were telling our agents, a lot what you were relating to earlier, communicate with them, create that relationship. So we were telling everybody, hey guys, get on the phones. Don't talk about real estate. Ask them how they are, what's going on. Are they home or they work? I had a couple of our agents ran contests that the kids could do with the parents at home, creating Lego houses and submitting them, doing all that kind of stuff to help them through it. And then come June, July, the markets just exploded over here. And I was looking at our increase in production, and we're going to surpass last year by at least 15% over last year. What kind of came a big aha just this past week was that I think a lot of that boom came because our agents were forced to make those calls and make those relationships. And people, when they were ready to come out of the gate, they came out strong. And if you were in touch with them and paying attention to them while you're in lockdown, it was done. So, and this is where I've been a strong advocate of having a CRM, having something. I've always told my agents, you're only as good as your database.
So true.
Yeah, if you don't have one and you're not organized, then you're searching for that bright shiny thing every month. You're going to that new seminar looking for something easy. So my big aha last year was, hey, listen, we have to start now more effectively using CRMs. I use it as a recruiting tool that I use for my daily calling, for my contacts and all that. And I started migrating my agents. We do have one that the brand provides, but Exact Contact makes it so easy to succeed by implementing the plans that I actually personally sit down with, and I hire in batches of about 5 to 10 people, get them up and running, get them successful with me working, not assigning to a manager or a trainer. And then once they're off, then I hire the next 10 batch that we work with, and I'm having them all go on instant contact and seeing huge results, because it's like dragging them into success by the back of their collars and just saying, no, you have to do this and you have to do that, and this has to be done by next week. And you know what? If you only have 30 names, then we're going with 30 names, but they're going to get your e-magazines, they're going to get your newsletters, they're going to do these things, right? And it's worked. Exact Contact has made it super easy for us to do that and implement and execute. So we use both of them in the office.
What I think is interesting is that most leaders will tell their agents what to do, but they don't actually live it themselves. So you're actually using the same resources. Attracting agents and managing agents isn't that much different than attracting buyers and sellers. It's a process. You automate it and you follow the system.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and you lead by example. Now, I decided 2 years ago to focus on the profitability and of my agents as being the lead retention for keeping agents. So we have very little turnover here, because if they're making money and they're successful and you're automating them, why would they want to go anywhere else? And you know what, just something I want to add on to what you said about them throwing things at you. I've interviewed all the agents I hired this year, and they all said the same thing. Everybody has training. Everybody says they're the best training. Everybody throws this stuff at you, but nobody sits down and shows you how to do it and execute on it. And that's the secret. Now, one of the things I do with the CRM is I make it very clear. When I've asked people, I said, what do you use a CRM for? And they go, well, I've got my people in there. And I said, okay. And so I start to ask questions. And what I came to the conclusion is this: most agents, I would say probably 95%, use the CRM as a telephone book. They don't use any of the plans. They don't use any of the campaigns. They don't use the texting functionality. They don't use any of the e-marketing. They just have it, and you ask them, then what do you use it for? Well, sometimes I need to print labels. And I go, that's pretty expensive to get a label program. I said, you could do better online, right? And I said, when I start to explain to agents, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? And they're all saying no. And I said, okay, so let's sit down, just me and you, and let's set up some of these. And following up on the database is an important one on there. And the last point on that page talks about create workflows. One of the things that Exact does extremely well, they have a keep in touch coach, where you're segmenting the way you said A, B, and C. All I have to do is, if my A leads, I want to touch them every four times a year, then I just come in the morning, click on my A leads, and all my A leads that I haven't touched in this quarter come up, and they don't disappear until I've called them. So it forces us to do the prospecting, to do the follow-up, and build that relationships.
Nelson, you said something in our pre-interview that I thought was really interesting. You said that your role as a leader is, agent recruiting, and then agent development and agent replacement. What do you mean by that? I think I thought that was really insightful.
Well, you learn sometimes that some people are just not a fit for you. Everybody says they want to become really good at the business, and you give them the opportunity, you give them the tools, and I'm sad if it doesn't work out. But even though as intense as we are, we may not be that right fit, but more times than not, that's my focus every day here, is that to do the training with our agents, to do the recruiting, and if someone's struggling, to give them the resources. But if they can't, then it's not going to work out. It's all about getting that stronger core, because I'm not about having 100 people in the office, or 200 or 500. All those people who joined me this year came from those size offices, and got no personal attention.
So what are you
Well,
learning about the agents who actually adopt, the ones who get into it?
Yeah, I'm only interested in the ones who are prepared to roll up their sleeves and execute on a consistent basis throughout the year. You're not going to plant the seed and have a tree with fruit the next day. You have to bear with it. What I typically find when I hire an agent, and we typically target agents that are struggling with, the 2 to 7 transactions, which is more average than not, and following the approaches in the system that we have, we can usually double their business within their first full year with us. It's not that hard to do because you're forcing them to be accountable to themselves and to me. And here's what I've noticed with my agents. They're more productive and profitable. There's better engagement tracking their clients in their database. They're all blown away when they send out their first e-campaign that I put together with them. And then all of these people that they didn't even know were thinking of buying or selling or calling them. And it's like, and plus what I've noticed in the group batch that I hired this year is they're noticing that in their clients, they're looking at them as that they're a higher level. Like all of a sudden it's like, wow, you're a professional now. Look at the programs I'm getting. Look at the consistent communication I'm getting. So these are all things that I've noticed to produce with the benefits of someone using a good CRM.
I think it's absolutely cool that you can tell an agent that if you come to work with us, you'll double, and that the core of what you're doing is helping them with their CRM. You put a bunch of things on here like e-campaigns, follow-up workflows. Is that stuff you're developing, or those resources that are built into Exact Contact CRM?
They're easy. They're already built into the CRM, and they're easy to do and customize. I can literally have an e-letter. Here's the thing. Before I used to tell agents, give me 150 names. You know what? It would take 3 months before they got the names, and they'd always be complaining how they couldn't get it. Now we got 30. So even if they got 30 or 50 names in their database, we bring them into the database. I sit down with them, takes about an hour. We go through setting up of the newsletter, putting a banner on it, making it look cool, and I'll show you a sample in a little while. We brand them on that stuff, and we force it, and we click it to go out. You know what? Sometimes they screw up. Sometimes the banner goes sideways. Sometimes because we're learning the system. But here's what I learned. It's something they didn't send out before. So and I had one of our agents, it was really a mistake on the banner. It looked terrible, and she had done a horrible job. So she goes, now what am I going to do? This is how I look now. And I said, send another e-newsletter and say, oops, I screwed up. Sorry about that. And here's the updated one. And she said it with the banner looking really good. And she got all kinds of comments because people thought it was funny. Sometimes we're too uptight about what we do and how people will look around us.
So one of our guests, I can't even say her name right, is Draginja, wants to know, what's an e-newsletter? Is that something you're building or creating as well?
That's in Exact Contact. It's a mass email program that is super easy. Of all the programs I've used for CRMs, and I just have to date myself a little bit. I was a beta tester of a company called Top Producer in 1989. And that was for their DOS versions. So it tells you how far back. So I've always been an advocate of CRMs, but never used it. But literally, you can, if you get the software, you can be up and running. And I send out about 3,000 recruiting emails every month. I go in and adjust the campaigns as I want. Super easy. There is not one out there that makes an easier e-newsletter, and you'll see a sample of what you can make them look like in a minute.
I love that. The key is I remember sitting in a hotel room. It was in Texas actually, and Ron Popeil came on, and he talked about the chicken roaster, and all you got to do is set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, as you were talking about the automation of the business, it's kind of like Ron Popeil's chicken roaster. You just set it and forget it. The newsletters go out, the e-messages go out, the campaigns are happening. You just set it and forget it. And for me, that's the power of having the right CRM, is the set it and forget it ability.
Well, I try and bring that to everything that the agents do, right? It's got to be set it or forget it. You should not be looking at this every month. What company reviews their business, changes their business models every month? Oh, we can afford it this month. We can't afford it next month. You can't build a business based on that, right? And there's a couple principles of what I do. And this is just here's what I've learned after 100 years in this business. This business is easy, but it's hard. And people say, you can't be. And they say, how is that? And I said, The things you have to do are easy. The hard part is you doing it consistently. So if human nature is that you can't, then I want to take it off and automate it and say, forget about it. Don't even talk about this till next year. Let it keep going. And you know, there's nothing better than an agent waking up in the morning and they say that, you know, 500 emails or 100 emails or 50 emails just went out to their whole database while they were having coffee, and it looks professional, and it just popped into their inbox, and they're proud of that. And then all of a sudden the phone rings saying, hey, you know what, we're thinking of renting. Hey, we're thinking of buying. Hey, we're thinking of selling. So, you know, Verl, you had asked me, and I'm sorry if I'm going too long here, but you had asked me, Nelson, when someone comes in, what do they have to do to be able to double their business and give more free time? So I put this down for you. It's not all, but it's a good part of it. And it's, number one is you have to start with a good CRM that is easy to use and at least to the proficiency of the person who's working. I've had people start with much more basic ones and then move up to something like Exact, but Exact makes it so easy. And if the broker, manager, trainer helps them, gives them 15 minutes, it'll be up and running. Organize your database into one location and segment database based on motivation, what you talked about, your A, B, your C. And I've also said this, I don't care what brand you're with, I don't care if you've been with a brand 100 years, two things you should always have full control over and you should own outright: your CRM and your website. That should never be owned by anyone. And if you decide that you want to change tomorrow or do something else, or that database should be able to go instantly with you. You should be able to be operating, change a logo, and send out a letter the next day. So I'm a big advocate, and I even tell my agents that. Why do I want you guys to use this one and not a brand one? You should always own these two things. I'm still an agent in heart, although I stopped selling a couple of years ago. I create a touch program that a lot of people talk about. So ours, I have it, and what I do is we sit down and we block out the whole next 12 months. I always show agents, and I say, I show a blank screen of an action plan for 12 months. I said, you know what that is? And they go, what? I said, that's your business plan for next year. And they go, what do you mean? I said, when are you sending out your calendars? When are you calling your people? When are you sending out an e-newsletter from Exact? When are you sending out a direct mail newsletter? Oh, I don't know. So I actually make them plot it, and I create a group coaching here in the office because there's just not enough Nelson to go around individually. So it works well, and I hold them to that action plan. My group coaches yesterday, they did that. And here's a wonderful example of, you know, those e-newsletters. These literally take minutes to create. The hardest part isn't this. And what I love about the program, it tells you how many people have opened it. It tells me what emails were wrong, so you can clean them up, call the person, say, oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong email for you. I got something that bounced back. What's the most recent email you have? Since I have you on the phone, is this still the best number to reach you at? You know, and you go through the whole thing. The Be Better, I have my agents create their own banners. They can use the templated ones that Exact has. It's costing my agents anywhere from $50 to $100 to have custom banners. These are some of the agents who have joined us and they're using these. Now, and I have them set it up that when it comes into their mailbox, it looks like an e-subscription. It doesn't look like real estate junk coming in. And one of them just took that welcome home one, which is an easy template to set up on Exact. And now every month she's going to send them her favorite home. So, hey, I just listed this one. This is fantastic. If they don't have a listing, they can use others in the office because we don't have permission. We don't need permission in here. If our competitors are advertising our listings, why do you need to ask each other? Just go grab one and put it on there.
Nelson, it's so fun to talk to someone who is so passionate about helping their agents succeed and grow their businesses. And I want to remind everybody that Riz Media will send out a link so you can get a copy of this presentation so you can re-watch it, and then you go back to the slide and go through those 7 things that he teaches his agents on how to double in the first year they join him, and it absolutely works. Nelson, what a treat and a pleasure to have you with us today. Will you stay on in case we have some questions as we get to the end today?
Absolutely. Happy to stay on.
All right, so let's jump in and bring up our next guest, Jay Quigley. Jay, welcome.
Thank you, Verl. Pleasure to be here.
I know you're chomping at the bit to get in here.
Hey, Nelson was doing a great job. I mean, I don't know how to top that.
I'm just taking notes. I love it when I know that you're going to offer great information as well. Just so everybody knows who you are, Jay he's just completing his current term as the secretary for the Greater Tampa Realtor Association, and he's getting ready to come in 2021 as the vice president. And I just want to say thank you for your leadership. You know, I think that those who give back and make a difference in helping their real estate communities, the ones that really should be celebrated in the business, because a lot of times they do it at a great personal expense. It takes a lot of time to be a giver. And thank you for supporting the association that way. Jay believes huge on education, and he believes it's the key to professional growth. He holds almost all the designations. I'm not even gonna give them all there, but he's just a great leader and a great giver. So Jay, tell us a little bit about your business. Tell us a little bit about the area you serve, a little bit about your business.
Thank you, Verl. Well, I'm based here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. You know, it's paradise, and I get to live here. And one of the beautiful things is I also get to share information about where I live, where I work, and where I play. So I've been a real estate agent here in Tampa now for a little over 5 years. Came from the legal field as a paralegal for 20 years, and hooked up with an amazing broker who sounds very similar to Nelson, where it's not just about numbers, it's about teaching people how to fish, teaching them how to build a business, a sustainable business, and really just honored to be a part of something that I get to do. This is fun.
You know, Jay, I'll tell you that good people attract good people. And I love that you have that level of respect and honor for your broker. I think it's a great testament to leadership. Good people attract good people. And I know you're a good person. So good job for that. So tell me a little bit about how, you know, how you stay organized with all the things you have going on. You're giving back, you're doing real estate. As a paralegal, you've got to have a high level of need to have control.
Yeah, a little OCD, is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying maybe.
Yeah, no, attention to detail for sure, and certainly trying to keep on top of the important things. And you know, I love this slide here because I've actually walked into people's offices, and this is what their desktop looks like. And I don't have a picture of my desktop, but there might be 3 Post-its, you know, and a couple from my daughter telling me she loves me, and I'll keep those where they need to be. But for me, the CRM just really helps me stay organized. And as Nelson touched on before, you know, to think of it as a telephone book is really just tremendously short-sighted. It is where I keep all my contacts in one place. I go nuts when I have them in my phone and then they're not in my exact contact, and I know that you can sync that as well. But what's really cool about this particular product is that you have access to your info, whether you're sitting in front of your desk like we are today, or if I am somewhere else and I have my phone with me. And so that is a real nice benefit. So when you're evaluating CRMs, that's one that I highly recommend people really take a look at. And of course, you know, there's nothing worse, as Nelson said, you know, open up the day and not really know what you're going to do that day, and not having any direction, and not really having a focus. And so it helps you with your prospecting. This is an example of the newsletter, and we have, you know, with Exact, there's this auto flow, which is kind of the set it and forget it idea, right? And this is an example of last month's newsletter. And as you can see, I've taken the time to customize the banner, add in some of those cool little alphabet soup after my name, and certainly having all of my contact information at the bottom of the email. And this has really served me well. I can't tell you how often I've added businesses to my CRM. For example, there was a mold remediation person I met in a networking, and because I have a stack of cards, I put them in my CRM, they're in my business part, and there was an article about mold remediation. And you know, he wrote me back saying, Jay, what a great article on mold remediation. I appreciate you bringing that up. And so I think sometimes agents only think you should put prospects in your CRM. And at the end of the day, almost everyone can be a prospect.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute my microphone for a minute. The landlord has decided to run a blower outside my window to get rid of the leaves. So I went mute. I think that's really cool that when you're sending information out that you didn't even have to write, that your clients are responding and engaging and following up with you. I think that's the goal. You know, everything works, but when you don't send anything to your database, it doesn't work. Everything works, nothing doesn't.
Right, right. And on the next slide, we talk about, managing the emotions of selling. And this was a great article that was also in the newsletter. And it's just a monthly e-newsletter that goes out. I don't have to do anything with it. But what's really cool is if you want to customize, it is not very difficult at all. I'm not a web guru or anything like that, but on the next slide, I think you'll see an example of where I actually added a first story to my sphere, letting them know that there was an election and I was one of the few positions where there was competition, and just blessed to have been elected as the vice president. Shared this with my sphere with the last, I guess the newsletter went out last week. That's the day I have it set to go out. And I got probably about 5 responses from various people congratulating me. And again, it's that contact, it's that touch, it's that interaction that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't set this up and let it do its thing.
Yeah, I love that you're celebrating the things that are going on in your marketplace and letting people know that it works. Eric asked a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this. If not, maybe Shannon can jump on. But the question was, when you send out a newsletter or you send out something that's an automated campaign, does the customized banner that you create show up in the mobile environment? So when they see it on mobile, does it look the same as when they see it on their computer?
Absolutely. It looks fabulous.
Awesome.
And,
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you. I was going to set this up for you. I was just going to say, how do you use your CRM to build the business? What are some of the things you're doing to grow your business using this awesome tool?
Absolutely. Adding people to your CRM is key. And certainly we all, some of us are experiencing Zoom fatigue and, that sort of thing. And I think there's also a little bit of email fatigue too. So having multiple ways of staying in touch with your clients, or at least in your top 50 or your A folks or your B folks, is another great strategy to staying in touch. And this is a monthly newsletter, a paper newsletter that I use in addition to my e-newsletter. And as you can see, it's personalized, and I always take a moment and write a personalized note at the bottom of the letter. I want them to know that I remember who they are, that they're important to me. And in this particular letter, they're actually building a new home. They're first-time home buyers buying a brand new home. They're super excited. And, that was the message I sent to them this past month.
I love it. I love 2 things. First of all, I love first-time home buyers, and I love how excited they are in the process, and the personal PS and the personal note on the bottom of the letter. That makes a big difference. Have you noticed an increase in responses when you write that?
Absolutely. I sometimes have clients that take pictures of it and then they text it to me and say, hey, I got your letter, or they respond via text to the question maybe I put at the end of the letter.
It's those little things that create that personal touch that just over time make sure that you're always top of mind. When they think home buying, selling, real estate, they think of you. And when they are ready to, they buy the first home, what happens when they're ready to sell it? You want them to think of you again.
That's right. And those personal PSs make them think. Shan, when you were talking about the importance of the CRM and all the automation stuff that's built in there, you know what I'm guilty of? I can't remember anybody's name, but when I have him in my CRM and I'm sending him letters and I'm writing personal PSs, what it does is it reminds you and cements into your muscle memory people's names. So when you run into them, you don't go, hi guys, call them by name, because you remember them because you had the touches.
Exactly. And this slide has a picture of the various paper cards that I actually send to my clients as well, because I'm sure Nelson's 34-point system that he mentioned a little earlier probably incorporates a lot of this, where you got to get the birthdays. How hard is it to get the birthdays when you're in a transaction with a client? There's so much downtime. You're sitting around at an inspection. You get to know that if you're wise, you really get to spend time and listen to what your clients have to say. And so some of the key things that I put in my CRM, I mean, the entry isn't complete unless I have their birthdays, both sellers. If they have a wedding anniversary, and if they're a home buyer, I put in their home buying anniversary. So as you can see here, these are cards you can get on Amazon by the bulk. Doesn't cost a lot of money at all. And I handwrite the envelope, I handwrite a note inside, and make sure that they get these in time for their birthday, their wedding anniversary, or their home anniversary.
And your CRM should help you remember those days.
It comes through on my phone and says, hey, in a week it's so-and-so's birthday. It's like, oh yeah, let me go get a birthday card.
You know, I think it's kind of funny that back in the day, we used to act like, you know, sending cards was a big deal, then everybody did it. Now everybody stopped sending handwritten cards and they send text messages, and there's no personal connection that happens there. And so I love that you brought up, I think it's a lost art of sending birthday cards and anniversary cards and your new home cards and the things that, you know, remind. I met a guy one time, as his name was Shandell, and he had a tremendous business. And he would get the local paper out every day, and he would look for any of his clients and anything that had happened with their families, their kids, you know, doing a touchdown, somebody having a birth, a death, the obituaries, and then he would cut that out of the newspaper, put it in a card, and send them a note. And he built his entire business on building phenomenal relationships by pointing out what people really care about the most, and that's themselves. And I think that both of you shared just some tremendous insight on how to increase the value of your relationships. When you think about how much a client is worth to us in real estate, the numbers, you know, it's huge. It's probably somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 over their lifetime. So one client being worth $100,000, is it worth a handwritten card? Is it worth having a CRM that actually reminds you to do the right things and automate all those processes? To me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
So we have a bunch of questions. Let me just jump in and I'll ask some of you both questions. And Shannon, if you don't mind, I'd love you to participate in the questions because a lot of them are about the product and how it works. So can you set up alerts to be like 2 weeks prior to an anniversary? And here's how I'd use it. Like if I know there's a wedding anniversary coming up, I'm calling the husband and saying, hey, congratulations on your anniversary in 2 weeks, because I know his response is going to be, oh yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. I needed that. Yeah.
That's a good one. Good. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So any of the automated reminders for birthdays and move-in anniversaries, they're automated. So you can literally check off a couple boxes and say, remind me 7 days, 10 days, whatever in advance. For things like wedding anniversaries and any other kind of personal key dates, you'd set it up as a task or put it in your calendar, make it recurring. And same thing applies. You can put the reminder as far in advance as you feel like you need it.
So did either one of you go through the process of transitioning from another database to Exact Contact? And what was it like to do the import?
Okay, for me here, really super easy. I don't make it complicated anymore. It's most other softwares can export a database into Excel, and then I say, okay, don't do anything because we'll take care of it. Send it to this email to support at Exact. They import it into the system. The next day, all their contacts are in there, because we get, you know what, there is an illness going around the industry that we need a vaccine for. It's called busyitis. It's like everybody's busy, even when they're not producing. And it's like, you'll say, okay, finish this task, have this completed by such, and it's not done. And it's like, why wasn't it done? Well, I got busy. Well, what did you get busy doing? And it's like not something that's as important as a database. Exact makes it super easy, and I think Jay will agree. You just send them the Excel spreadsheet and they upload it, then you just go through and clean and segment, and that's easy to do.
So if you're in Outlook or Google Sheets, or you're using another CRM, you can export it into an Excel, and then they'll upload it and put it in there for you. And how about this, guys? So What if as you put your new database into Exact Contact, you follow the 3-2-1 process? Every day, call 3 people in the list, update their contact record, get the critical dates, and then schedule whatever campaign you want to put them on. And so that gives you a transition process using the 3-2-1s to be able to make that happen. Is that what? So Shannon, when you think about that, how hard is it to move from one database to another?
It's pretty easy, and as Nelson just described, we do the import for them. There's a self-import tool, but most agents will simply go, nope, I don't want to do it. Here's my file, go. And then we actually reach out. Each individual customer that subscribes gets a one-on-one call with our support team to walk through, okay, how do you use it? And if they were doing something like the 3-2-1, then it's a much less daunting task to look at, oh, I uploaded 150 contacts and they're not categorized the way I want them to be. But if you only had to do 3 a day, then that makes it that much simpler.
Actually, if I could add something to that for the support, they are phenomenal for support. I've never had an agent, and Jay's laughing, so I think he's had that experience. You never call them that they don't know what they're talking about. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly how to solve it. They don't make you feel silly. And you always finish. I've never had a complaint. I've only had compliments, which is unusual for real estate agents on CRMs, but they always comment. Jay, how's your experience?
Nelson, you took the words right out of my mouth. I had to call a couple of times on a couple of kind of oddball situations because I'm always trying to tweak something, never happy with the way things just come out of the gate. And phenomenal customer support, and both on the phone and via email. And not to mention, if you click the little, help button, a little question mark or whatever that thing is, just so much information, videos on how to do what you need to do. And again, if it's an oddball kind of request, I've never had any problems getting great support.
I think our support team likes the challenge of someone calling and saying, it's doing X and I want it to do Y, and figuring out, how to make it do something in between that works.
So a couple of technical questions. One is, can you embed or incorporate video into your communications?
Yeah, you can. We're integrated with BombBomb. So if you are using BombBomb, you can just connect your account, click the insert BombBomb video button, and that'll add the video. If your videos are anywhere online, and they need to be, like YouTube, Vimeo, Dropbox, wherever, you can insert an image and simply hyperlink that image to the video.
Very cool. I know that Exact Contact has website templates, but people really love the bolt-on that is the back end of when a lead comes in, what happens to it. If somebody wanted a more customized website, can we have the leads flow into the Exact Contact database and then use that as the incubator and follow up?
Yeah, absolutely. We added the website 4 or 5 years ago. It's almost like a free gift with purchase. We didn't increase our cost. It was just, hey, we now also have websites. But if you have an existing website that you love when you come to Exact Contact, then we simply capture your leads from that website directly into the CRM. And the auto assignment to the e-newsletter and to drip campaigns just flows through.
Yeah, Cynthia asked a great question about, and I'd love to know if either of you use it this way, and that is, when you're doing your prospecting and you want a report of how many dials did I make, how many conversations did I have, how many appointments were set in my time block of prospecting, can I get that feedback from the CRM?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, for recruiting, it tracks the calls I make when I log into the system. It's got a really, and this, it logs everything. What's automated, it logs automatically into the system, and you can make your notes on it. And then at the end, you can see what's your productivity. Like I can always see how many people I've hired compared to how many I targeted, how many calls I've made. If I've been a bad boy and have not done my calls, it shines in red. So it's like, it makes you feel guilty to go home after. And then, so it's got that, and it's got it. And what I like about it is it's not overkill. Like it gives you your key numbers that you need to know to be the best at what you do.
Yeah, what Nelson's speaking to is setting goals. So you actually set goals for your prospecting activities, and there's a dashboard widget that shows you to the minute, how many calls have you made and where are you at towards what you had targeted.
Jay and Nelson, I have to tell you that the number of questions and the engagement by the audience lets us know that you've piqued a lot of interest. CRM is such a big topic out there, and people just want to do the right things. And so I just want to thank you both for sharing so much insight. And to Shannon, I got to tell you, there's just tremendous interest in not just the product, but also all of the functionality. You know, every time there's a question, you answer it with, yeah, it does that. Oh, and it does this more. And so you've kind of taken CRM to the next level. What I'm going to encourage everybody to do is to look at your screen right now. Make sure you take a picture of this screen. Go to workmansuccess.com/double down, and we're going to make sure we give you the ABCs of lead management, the 8651 ebook on how to do that. We've created an Exact Contact has given us a CRM buyer's checklist, which is what we do in creating automated workflows or action plans inside the CRM, and they're making that available to everybody. And then just look, you want to really figure out how it works, go download it. Go to exactcontact.com/risk media, download it. You get to use it for 60 days. Here's the deal though, use it, turn it on for 60 days. And if you do 3-2-1s for 60 days, you'll never go to anything else. It just works. And so on behalf of all of us at RIS Media and Exact Contact, Shannon, thank you so much for helping us put on a great event today. Nelson and Jay, we appreciate your insights and for all the things that you're doing to make a difference in your communities and lives of the people you touch. And from us at Workman Success Systems, if there's anything we can do to help you from a coaching perspective, take your business to the next stratosphere, please schedule a free coaching or strategy session. Thanks everybody. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you all next on the Risk Media's next webinar series call. Bye everyone.
Bye everybody. Thanks, Phil. Thanks,
Bye.
Jay, Nelson. Bye.
Bye.